Today is June 10th, and I'm just vlogging this as I think while I'm driving, and I guess day 3 of my new life. But I was just thinking, yesterday, whenever I woke up, I had a lot of questions, and I told y'all that Andy didn't answer the phone the first night, and obviously he didn't answer the phone, so I had a lot of questions, and I wanted answers to, and I don't care what the answer is, I just want to know, right? And so that morning, which was yesterday morning, I texted a couple of his friends, they're mutual friends, and I asking specific dates. Like, it was not a random text that just said random things. It was very specific. Like, I was just trying to figure out if these dates were he was being honest or if he was not being honest, and in the first initial text, whenever I asked about the date, I said, he's been cheating on me. I'm just trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And every single one of them texted me back and answered the question. And I just, now I've been just thinking about that things, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm so thankful because you hear that, when something like that happens, and because all of these people, not one of them actually was my friend first, not one. Actually, they were all his really, really, really close friends, and each one of them texts me back the answers, and each one of them I appreciate so much. So I just wanted to get on here and say, if you're ever in that position, do the right thing. And it's not do the right thing by your buddy. Like, there's a lot of people that I could have texted asking the same thing that would just have not, a lot of his friends, that would have not texted back at all. They would have just been like, hey, bruh, like, what do I need to say here? Well, you say the right thing. Like, you say the truth. And so yeah, if you're ever in that position, do the right thing. Okay. Back. And it's still the 10th, obviously. And I've been talking to Andy almost all day via text. And we've never had a conversation like we are having. Ever. Which is just a very deep and honest and reflecting and dream, and we're talking about all of that. And we've never had that. I've never had a conversation like that before, which is likely, or not, it's not likely, it is why everything evolved to what it evolved into. It didn't at all make anything right. But that is when we can, as communication, right? Everybody's like, you gotta communicate, but that looks different for people. What that means, that could simply mean we need to have deep talks about childhood, or their past relationships, or what you did today, or like your dreams and intentions and ambitions and all the things. Finances, like, there's communication, and saying you need to be a better communicator needs to be very clear on what we're communicating about, and so very specific. And obviously, after the events of the last couple days, the communication that needed to be made was very clear. And so I want to just bring awareness to that first. And, obviously I'm a coach. So I have this ability, what I feel is my superpower, and God has blessed me with this, and it honestly has served me, and it has also not served me. It's also put me in a bind a lot of times, financial bind, physical binds, like thinking somebody's going to do or change and be, thinking they have this potential when they don't, or they don't right now at least, like that. So being able to see the potential in people and pull it out of them is my superpower. But again, I've had to learn what to look for and all the things where is it no longer in my court to help this person, right? And so that's where I've gone wrong in the past and just been burned. Obviously not burned enough I burned enough to have even every single time, obviously, every time you get burned, or you make a not good decision, or you learn and you adjust and you move forward, right? So you just don't do the same thing again. So I put very clear boundaries on things that have burned me in the past so that I can clearly see and I don't have to go through these same lessons, right? But all that to say is, or all that going into, my giving hope is a great word. Hope is what people have to have if they want to do anything. You gotta have hope that you are going to be competitive on the stage. You gotta have hope that you're gonna do the right thing every day to lose weight. You gotta have hope to do everything. You gotta have hope to even take a chance at possibly rebuilding your marriage. Because if you don't have hope, then you don't have anything. And so that comes in line with my superpower, right? I can pull out of people, but if I can pull potential out of people if they have potential, and I have hope in people. Again, not everybody, but the ones I do have hope in are in things that I do have hope with. There's a reason I have hope for them in those things, and there's a reason that I don't have it for other things. But I'm a big dreamer, and Andy's not allowed himself, I guess would be a right way to put it, to dream, because he grew up in a small town, and that's not an excuse, that's just what it is. And so he was limited in what he didn't know about the world and about, and so today, and as we're talking, he said, it's got behind me. He said, for the first time, I have hope. And for me, that's all I need to hear. To forgive him, really without, of course he's asked me for forgiveness, but not directly, I guess, if you wanted to say that. Not, will you forgive me? But if he has hope that he can change, if he has hope that he's willing to do the work to change who he is, the man he is, everything about the man he is, and I'm willing, same thing, I'm willing to change everything that I don't want to be. And I've done many a podcast on this. woman I want to be. I built her by being the woman I don't want to be. Making sure that I don't do the things that I don't want to do, don't want to be. And so if he has hope in himself that he, even if it's so small, then for me, again, that's all I need to completely wipe his actions away from him and forgive him and move forward together with a plan. Even though the plan is like very vague, you know, we don't know. And same thing goes with every plan I've put in place in my life. I don't know the outcome. I just know what I ultimately want, and if I knew how to get there, then I'd already be there. So I don't obviously know how to get there, but if I just work on it every day, and if I just keep doing what I like to do every day, and what I love to do, and I don't do what I don't want to do, or don't do what I don't like to do, I just live by that. It served me, and it served us in our marriage, honestly. And you know, we're talking about personal growth and growth as a couple. And when we met, we met a long time ago, but when we started dating in 2013, I was, obviously y'all don't know me back then, but I was very different, very, very different. I was very much like Andy. We were very similar, and now we are completely opposite. And I knew in 2013 that I had to change everything. I had to change everything about myself. If I wanted to be a woman, not a woman, but Andy's wife, ever. And he didn't even, you know, we didn't know we were going to get married, but if I ever wanted to be a woman that a man was proud of, I knew I had to change. I knew I could not continue to be the woman I was. And I was okay with that. I was okay with doing the work. And that was 2013, it's 2025. I'm still doing the work every day. Mental work, physical work, emotional work, right? Financial work. But without Andy, without him being the man he is, the man that he was in 2013, pushing me to say, and when I say pushing me, I mean he just had to make me want to better me, right? And he didn't do that with words. He didn't never ever has said anything about the way I look, the way I now, then, any time, at any point. I'll never forget the night that, literally, the night before I started tracking macros, I had been Googling, I was Googling, I didn't have social media, Googling stuff on just building, I don't even know what I was Googling, building muscle and workouts and this, that, and the other, and I said, we were laying on the couch, and I said, I'm about to get in the best shape of my life. This is in January, for your birthday, which is in July. I said, I'm about to get in the best shape of my life for your birthday. And he said, because we were going to the beach, he said, you're already in the best shape of your life. And I said, no, not yet. And I'll never forget that, because I'm still on that quest and that journey but it's way more about a lot more than just my body, you know. And in my head, well, not in my head, and I know that without him being exactly who he is, being exactly how he is, being exactly Andy, then I would not be the woman I am today. Even small, at any extent, everything had to play out in the time that it played out. Everything had to happen the way it did, and I know that that's a belief, and this is something, you know, this is something else that you have to have outside of hope. You have to believe. You have to believe that there is, whether you believe in God or you believe in the universe, you got to believe that, and then you also got to believe in the devil, or whatever the people that believe in the universe feel is the bad part, because otherwise you're gonna go through life and you're not gonna have any reason to, or you're not gonna have you're you're not going to have a reason to not do things or to do things, right? So my eating disorder was a perfect example. I've done podcasts about this. It literally felt like when that feeling, and if you have an addiction, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, that feeling of addiction, that feeling of uncontrollable actions or lack of actions in some cases, it's like a black cloud. It's like, and it just haunts you. It just sits on your shoulders. It's just like, get off. I mean, but you couldn't get it off until you did it, right? And in my head, when I was coming out and I was recovering over my eating disorder, when that feeling hit, I would tell myself, this is the devil. This is the devil that is doing this to you. This is the devil that is doing this to you. And if you just pray, if you pray and you talk to God and you ask him to give you everything you need right now, everything he can in your power to just fight this devil, then you will win. And that's what I do. And that's what I did. And so the same thing goes with everything good and bad. If you have something to say, like, this is God. And so I do it all the time. Like, I literally have been doing it since the moment. Well, I do it all the time. This God's telling me exactly what to do if I just listen and I let go and I let God. And that's what he's talking about. You got to look for him. Look for even the devil so that you can know that's not the direction I want to go. And so turn around or going back into personal growth. Andy's time for his growth is now. And again, I wouldn't have been able to, I could not have said that any time before this moment, right? I wouldn't have been strong enough to say it. I wouldn't have been able to even probably know what that even meant. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means, but I know that I really like Andy. And, you know, in 2013, whenever we started dating, I had a friend of mine. And like I said, we were friends for a long time. So I knew Andy like the back of my hand. I knew his ways and his tendency. I knew everything. We were friends. So there was no secret, you know. But a friend of mine, when she heard that we were dating, which we had never done before, she asked me, I'll never forget, she said, "You're going to date him after what he's done?" And I was like, yeah, I like him. That's all I said. I said, I like him a lot. I mean, like, I like hanging out with him. He's cool to talk to. Like, I like him. I don't know what else to say. And, you know, before that, I had told the same friend, this is like years before that actually, that I knew that Andy loved me. But all I'd say right now, a lot of people are, and not a lot of people, because not a lot of people know, but people know, and that's okay. And that's another lesson. Like, that's okay. It is what it is. We're humans, you know. We make mistakes, and some mistakes are good. I mean, some mistakes are big, and some are not big. But we all are human, and I'm excited that he has hope. Because where there's hope, there could be change. And, you know, again, I know without a doubt that he can do whatever he wants to do. And he can be whoever he wants to be. He can be the man that he wants to be. But sometimes it's not clear. A lot of times, actually, it's not clear on who you want to be. And again, going back to what I said earlier, you just have to focus on who you don't want to be. And that's going to get you really far if you just do that every day. And so a lot of people, what I was about to say a few minutes ago, a lot of people are asking, or, you know, what are you going to do? Forgive him or whatever. And I will forgive him. And I will forget. And people are like, it's easy to forgive, and it's easy to forget too. It's easy to forget things that you compartmentalize into a place in your brain. When I say forget, I don't mean like if I dig deep, I'll be able to remember everything from every part of my life, right? But being able to compartmentalize things into almost categories, into where it doesn't come up, because we're not trying to have no grudges. We're not trying to hold it over somebody's head. We're not trying to do things like that. But you'll never forget it, right? Like, that would be unrealistic if and that's what I told him, there'll never be a day that it doesn't, if I were to think about it, make me want to throw up, right? And so I can't tell myself, you just kind of forget it, because that's stupid. But I can tell myself, you're going to forgive, and you're going to compartmentalize this into a part in your brain that you never really want to tap into. And if you ever have to tap into it, then intentions are not right wherever you are in your life. If this is the area of your brain you tap into, right? So, I don't know. I'm really just documenting this because it's never happened to me. And I know that everything else in my life has never happened to me. So, and I've been documenting that. So, here we are. And I'm very hopeful that we will be able to, or I'm not very hopeful that we'll be able to, I know that we will be able to rebuild a more strong marriage by building more strong individuals. And I'm really excited. And
in about 10 miles, take exit 73 onto US 82 and McFarland Boulevard.
Obviously, living in the South, there's a lot of people that their opinions don't matter. Or anywhere, not even in the South, but their opinions don't matter. Their opinions have never mattered. Not to me, at least. And not to Andy. Andy definitely don't matter. But, hope feels good. So, if you're in this spot, instead of focusing on, like, all the things that you need to fix, really just focus on, is there hope? Do you have hope? Does the other person have hope? We've got to both have hope. Ain't one of them. Can't do it one. And just what is our things that we're working on, which I am going to document, is what do you, obviously we've been together for 10 years, been friends for 20 years. What part of me do you love? What do you not love? What do you like? What do you like? The same thing with him. And so going into this next season of life, we can be clear on that. And we could say, and if I don't like, or I do like, or this, that, and the other, then he knows. And then he can either build on those characteristics, or start working on eliminating them, or, changing them. And same thing goes for me. And that's the first step. One, do you both have hope? Do you want to do it? That was one first question. Do you want to put in the work that it will take? And you don't know how much work. It's going to be as hard or as easy as you make it. Do you want to? And then number two is, it's just looking brain. Do you want to? That was a big question. Yeah, and then do you have hope that you can change? Do you have hope that you can change? For me, it was, do you have hope that you can forgive and forget, and compartmentalize? So I'm happy, and I know that this is where God meant for me to be, mentally and physically, for what is about to happen, like within my show and everything else this next 2 weeks. And I'm in a very peaceful headspace because of that, and so I'm just very thankful for that. So